So then people will notice that you don't need love. And you know what happens? You know that phrase, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Well, if you're feeling good, people who feel good will feel even better. People who feel bad will feel even bad. Because the world will react to your emotional state. People will sense that you were giving yourself love. So that means that, oh my God, if this person loves themselves, then that means I gotta love them too. If this person has so much love for themselves, if this person doesn't need me, if this person is so self-sufficient from within, then there must be something interesting about them. It's like when you watch somebody being liked by other people, right? Not to the same, that's another extent, right? But when you watch somebody being liked by other people, you want to like them. When you notice that somebody's at ease with themselves, that they're happy, they're comfortable, they don't need you. What that says is that.
Like a boss.
And don't forget, people, we're having 50% off all of our coaching, all of our courses. That includes emotional mastery and charisma blueprint. You can click on the description down below to get it using the coupon code mindful, and 20% off one-on-one coaching with me. Same coupon code. And that also expires at the end of the month. Okay. You see, people are weird. When they feel like you really want something, there's a certain level of resistance that people put up when they sense that you want something from them real badly. Even when it's love. When people feel like you really want their love, there's a certain sense of freedom that they psychologically lose, almost like an unconscious freedom of choice, that they then will begin to resist you, all because they feel compelled to go in the opposite direction. It's like, for example, my mom, right? Anytime my mom tells me to eat my vegetables, I don't eat it. Honestly, that's how I am, right? Like if she puts food and just eat it, and compels me to eat it, I'm not gonna eat it. But if she leaves me alone and doesn't bother me and pester me about eating it, naturally I'm gonna eat it. So there's a certain level of resistance that we create in people when we unconsciously compel them to love us back. When we are sending signals to the world to be loved, people will hold on to the love that they'll give you simply because they want to feel like they have some choice. They want to feel like they have some control. And the thing is that our begging, our reverse supplication, and asking people to love us really comes as a last result. Because maybe as you grew up in your childhood, you begged in different ways. And you realize that begging and acting needy has gotten you some sort of reward, as scarce as it has been. But unfortunately, that habit just pushes people away, right? So we're going to talk about why you should never beg for love and what you should do instead, so that the person that you're talking to can actually appreciate you, because there's nothing more regretful than knowing that you could have potentially been with this person, but you push them away because of your neediness. Now, what do I mean by begging for love? There's nothing wrong with wanting love. It's human nature. You are a social animal. You should want to be loved, and you should chase for some sort of love. But what should you do? What does it mean to beg for love? Well, it's called over pursuing. For example, me as a guy, if I text a girl, right? Hey, Melissa, how are you? Let me hit you up, right? And she doesn't respond, right? Okay. Now, I have a choice. What I just did was chasing, right? Messaging you, right? Asking you to go out. I put myself at risk to get rejected, but you don't respond. So what do I do now? Now, I'm going to send you another text. Hey, Melissa, what the fuck, right? Now, what that is now is called over pursuing. You're begging for someone's attention. In the beginning, you pursued, hey, how are you? But she didn't respond. So now you over pursued. So begging for love is giving people love without them reciprocating the love that they give you. Now, there's no need when you're in a loving relationship to be asked to be seen how much effort they're putting compared to you, right? You shouldn't be analyzing it. There's a feeling that comes when somebody's not putting effort, right? So people who beg for love, people who beg to be loved and admired and appreciated, right? What they're doing is that they're not reading the feedback. In other words, they're doing something and they're not seeing whether or not they're receiving love as well. So that causes the person whom they're sending, who they want their attention from, it causes them to see you as weak, and it causes them to resent you. And the reason why that is because one, How low is your self-esteem that you can't read that I don't want what you're giving me? I'm literally holding what you're giving me, I'm throwing it out, but you keep handing it back to me. That lack of being able to sense and read the feedback is confirming to them what they already think about you. That's the problem. And so this tends to become a habit. This over pursuing becomes a habit where you're so habitually chasing that you stop realizing what you're actually doing, and you sort of don't know why you're getting those types of results. And so a lot of people will live their lives over pursuing someone who doesn't reciprocate the love, who doesn't reciprocate the same level of interest. So that's the first thing. Do not beg, and don't over pursue. If the person doesn't want a relationship, you pull away. If the person doesn't want marriage, you pull away. If the girl doesn't want to give you the poom poom, you pull away. Well, you wait a little bit and see what happens, right? But essentially, begging is when you're getting the feedback that I don't want you, but you keep going, right? So there's something called reactance, where individuals have a natural inclination to resist when they feel their freedom or choices are being restricted.
Psychological reactance is a theory that suggests people have a natural inclination to resist when they feel their freedom or choices are being restricted. When someone senses that another person wants something desperately, it may trigger a sense of pressure or obligation, leading them to resist giving it. This resistance can arise from a desire to maintain one's own autonomy and avoid feeling manipulated or coerced. On the other hand, the principle of reciprocity plays a role in the situation where someone doesn't want something, but others feel compelled to give it to them. The principle of reciprocity states that people tend to feel obliged to repay what others have done for them. When someone expresses disinterest or does not want something, it may create a sense of imbalance or indebtedness in others. As a result, they may feel compelled to give or provide it as a way to restore equilibrium and fulfill the social norm of reciprocity.
When someone doesn't want something, it triggers a sense of freedom for others, leading them to feel more inclined to give it or share it. So when they notice in you that you're not over pursuing, that you're someone that wants their attention but doesn't need it, psychologically, it'll make them feel more likely to feel compelled to give you what you want. Now, in order for you to not have that reaction of chasing, because most likely, if you're watching this video, most likely you just have a natural reaction to over pursue, to beg at the sight of people not reciprocating the love that you give back. You know what I'm saying? So most likely these are patterns that are deeply ingrained in your neurology. And most likely those patterns were ingrained when you were growing up, because that's where we develop our attachment styles. So how do you reverse this dynamic, right? Because unfortunately for you, you might be asking, what are the tactics to get people to reverse this dynamic? Well, the problem here is not a symptom. It's not just like when you have a cold, you have a cough, you have the fever, you have a runny nose. What you're asking me is, how do I remove the runny nose? You're not asking me, how do I remove the cold? And the real reason, and the cold is equivalent to our emotion, right? And the behavior is equivalent to the symptoms in a cold, right? Just because you fix the nose doesn't mean you remove the problem. So the problem here is an emotional issue, because all of our behavior arises from emotion. Emotion equals motion. Emotion wants the body to move so that it can manifest itself. If the body doesn't react to the emotion dies over time, right? If your mind doesn't react to the emotion dies over time. So what you want to do is find what you want whenever you act, whenever you're begging for love, and that's self-love. Now, what is self-love? When you think about wanting people to love you, what does that mean? Well, what that means is you want somebody to look at you, first of all, look at you and acknowledge you. Acknowledge your existence. That's the first thing. 2 is for them to see your flaws, particularly your negative flaws, and accept you for who you are. And also be able to see your positive traits like good looks, and see beyond that and look at the person behind the exterior. But also on top of that, you want to feel good. You want this person to say things to you that makes you feel good about yourself. In other words, you want this person to generate positive emotions in you. And unfortunately, we have lost the ability to self-generate positive emotions. And so as a result, we as social animals rely on others to make us feel good. Individually, we feel weak and isolated. In a group, we feel one and at one with people, and our self-esteem is much higher. We take more risk. We feel more confident. So what you're really asking from people when you asking for love is for them to appreciate you, to want to be around you, to value you above other people, and to make you feel good. If you're able to create that within yourself without them needing you, the clingy behavior of chasing and being needy will automatically stop. It will stop because the reason why a lot of people start chasing for love, and they're so desperate for love that they don't see how people are disrespecting them. It's like a drug dealer, right? You want that crack so much that you deal with the drug dealer being 1 hour or 2 hours late. They'll say, "Hey, I'm around the corner," and it'll take 2 hours for them to come. It's the fucking craziest thing on the planet. How drug dealers have this weird perception of time that's completely different from normal population. All right, what the fuck does Father Alex do crack? No, I don't do crack. But so you give it to yourself. So once you I'm gonna show you how to do it. But once you give yourself this self-love, you will notice that the instinct to over pursue someone who is not giving you what you're giving them is not there as much.
Validating oneself through learning to self-generate positive and happy emotions can be an effective way to reduce clingy and attention-seeking behavior. At the root of these behaviors is often a desire to feel better, more secure, and validated by others. By learning to generate positive emotions independently, individuals can fulfill these needs from within, reducing their reliance on external sources for validation. When someone constantly seeks attention and validation from others, it can be a sign that they are seeking external sources of happiness and self-worth. However, relying solely on others for validation can create an unhealthy dependency and put strain on relationships. Learning to self-validate and generate positive emotions can break this cycle and lead to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. By focusing on personal growth and self-care, individuals can develop a stronger sense of self-worth and happiness. This can be achieved through activities such as practicing gratitude, engaging in hobbies and interests, setting and achieving personal goals, and cultivating positive relationships with oneself. When individuals are able to generate positive emotions on their own, they become less reliant on others for validation. This can reduce clingy and attention-seeking behaviors, as they no longer feel the need to constantly seek external affirmation. Instead, they can find fulfillment and happiness from within.
It slowly weakens over time. And what will happen is that people will sense whenever you feel good, there's a certain way of behaving, and the way that you look at people, the way that you move, the way that you talk is completely different. And the difference between who you are today, where you're seeking love, seeking attention, seeking validation, versus who you will be, where all of a sudden you learn to feel good on your own. All of a sudden you're sitting and you have that comforting, warm, fuzzy feeling of just being, of just existing, which is very similar to the feeling that somebody who loves you gives you. Very, very similar, almost the same, right? You literally learn to enjoy being with yourself, almost like you're like in a relationship with yourself. And you'll learn to self-generate positive emotions. And so what will happen is that will literally change little things in your face. That will literally change little ways that you verbally express yourself, because you're not as tense anymore. Whenever you're self-absorbed and feeling insecure, your body tenses up. So little muscles here, little muscles there become more tense. Little muscles here become more tense. And in isolation, this tense might not be noticeable, but the tension here, tension here, tension here, tension here, the littleness begins to add up to an overall picture of an insecure person. Like the face, the symmetry in the face between an ugly and a good-looking person is so subtle, but those little tiny microscopic difference in angle or protrusion, angulation, and the difference between how much three-dimensionality your face has compared to somebody else, all add up to create a beautiful face or an ugly face. It's the same thing, right? Your overall emotional state literally radiates from within because the self is always coming through. So this self-love hugs you, gives you that confidence, that feeling that a child has whenever that child is with his parents, that child feels more confident. So then people will notice that you don't need love, and you know what happens? You know that phrase, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Well, if you're feeling good, people who feel good will feel even better. People who feel bad will feel even bad because the world will react to your emotional state. People will sense that you were giving yourself love. So that means that, oh my God, if this person loves themselves, then that means I gotta love them too. If this person has so much love for themselves, if this person doesn't need me, if this person is so self-sufficient from within, then there must be something interesting about them. It's like when you watch somebody being liked by other people, right? Not to the same, that's another extent, right? But when you watch somebody being liked by other people, you want to like them. When you notice that somebody's at ease with themselves, that they're happy, they're comfortable, they don't need you, what that says is that, wow, there's something positive about them. That's why whenever we notice somebody that handles rejection really well, we say, wow, this person's confident. What that means is that this person likes themselves so much that you not liking them back doesn't change their opinion. Now, how do you do that, right? How do you do that? Well, what are the signs? The more you hang out with someone, the more you like them. That's how that works, right? You can hang out with Hitler. You can hang out with fucking Hitler, little Hitler, right? And if you hang around him long enough, you'll end up liking the guy. Anybody. You can hang out with the Prince of Darkness himself. And if you hang out with Satan for like a few weeks, you'll be like, you know what? Satan is a good guy. He's a good party. I could go to a party with Lucifer. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Lucy, that's his nickname. You know? So how do you hang out with yourself? Well, what's the ultimate? You just sit down and you breathe. You sit down and you scan your body. And you're alone with your thoughts. There's silence. There's nobody else. Your eyes are closed. And you're just deeply inside of yourself. And just like any person, in the beginning, you're not going to like each other that much. You're not going to like them as much, right? It's like when you first meet your enemy, you don't like them. But if you actually become teammates with the enemy that you used to hate, you'll notice that the one who you hated the most, you like the most. That's how that works, you know? So you observe yourself, and this is uncomfortable. Now you're spending time with yourself. If you spend long enough time with yourself through meditation over the weeks and months, you'll notice you'll start loving it. And without knowing it, you're loving yourself because you're spending time with yourself and you don't mind anymore. This will have such a cascading effect on your whole neural system and your whole biology. It'll release positive emotions. It'll relax your face, relax your nonverbal cues, relax your voice, relax even the way your body takes in senses. All of a sudden, this sound becomes extremely pleasurable. It's like a beauty in and of itself. So then the same sensation of beauty to this sound, of just pure pleasure in that sound, all of a sudden you feel that same pleasure with just existing. That sense of like, I'm really at peace right now, is true love. And what will happen is that now you are observing yourself with love, with peace, with tranquility, not hostility, not resentment. Now all of a sudden, the way you see yourself, you'll see the other person. And you'll see them with so much positivity, so much love, so much compassion, that just like studies have shown that when teachers believe that the student is smart, that student will actually have higher grades. If the teacher believes that the student is bad or misbehaves bad, that student will misbehave bad and will have lower grades. The way we perceive people is how we'll have a higher effect of how they're going to treat us. So if you see them positively, that they're smart, that they're intelligent, that they're awesome, that they deserve love, all of a sudden they're going to feel validated in your presence. The way you look at them will change. They'll sense a warmth, a happiness, a sense of confidence emanating from you. And so then they'll want to give you that as well because you're giving it out. And the only reason you're giving is because you actually feel it for yourself. It's like when somebody for example, when somebody hates themselves, they're gonna start hate rather than acknowledge they hate themselves. They're just gonna hate you. It's a negative projection. What we're doing is a positive projection. I love myself so much that I love you. I love myself so much that even if you reject me, your rejection cannot get through this barrier of self-love. Anyone could come in, but nothing comes out. It's an invitation for everyone. It's an ecosystem of positive emotions, right? So love yourself first. Now, once you do that, once you develop the self-love through a meditation practice, and the way you could do this is one, practice meditation daily. Go Google how to meditate. Do 10 minutes daily as a start. Or you could purchase my course, Emotional Mastery, by using the coupon code mindful for 50% off. Or you could check out The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle right here. Or you could go to a meditation retreat. It's a 10-day Vipassana retreat. It's called, by going to dharma.org, just go to Google and put 10-day Vipassana silent retreat. Or just put 10-day silent retreat Dharma, and you'll find it, right? Now, once you develop that self-love, all you got to do to not push people away with your needy, like fucking needy energy, per se, is to only go for those who are giving you the energy that you want, right? It's as simple as that. There's nothing wrong with making the first move. It's okay to make the first move, to ask them out, to message them first, right? But what we want is reciprocation. You ask them to hang out, you want to see them, but you also want to see energy from them. You want to see enthusiasm, you want to see timeliness, you want to see them, you want to see how somebody acts when they like you. So for example, I text you today and you respond in 2 days. That's not good. That doesn't show urgency. You want to go out with people who show urgency, who when they see you they smile, and when you leave they ask about you. You want to see. You don't want to go after people who you have to wonder if they like you. You want to go after people who is obvious that they like you. If you have to wonder if they like you, that's not a good sign. Just go for those and pursue those who are showing clear signs that they like you. So if they don't be sending that fucking question mark text. Don't be sending that emoji. Don't double text. Don't over pursue those who are not pursuing you. If you want a relationship, express you want it and see how they react. The point is, give people the same energy they're giving you back. Don't give them negative energy, right? Only give them indifference and positive energy. The negative energy just creates bad karma, right? If they say, fuck you, I don't like you, don't give them that same energy. But if they're showing indifference, then you show indifference. What are you going to do? Show positivity as somebody who doesn't seem to be interested in you? If people are not talking to you, you could try to talk to them once, but then see if they come back to you the next time. If somebody says hi to you, say hi to them. But don't say hi to them when they don't say hi back. Like, give people the same energy. And what happens when you're insecure, you don't see those signals. You don't read the room because you're so self-absorbed. You know what I'm saying? So, don't beg for love. Love yourself first through learning how to be happy through meditation. Learning your happiness is pretty much an indication of your self-esteem. If you're chronically unhappy, you're just going to be chasing people, because a lot of us have learned to feel good at the validation of others. Because it's very easy to feel good. The brain rewards social interactions, But I don't want your brain, and I want you to stop receiving validation from people who are giving you scraps. Don't be taking those scrappy, dusty validation people, all right? Only accept the best for people. Don't accept inconsistency. Don't accept halfway lovers, people who are unsure about you. Don't accept people who, after a time of being with you, they don't want a relationship. Only go for those who are showing you enthusiasm, who are giving you the same energy, who obviously like you back. And if they don't act like they like you, slowly pull away, and they'll reveal their cards. That's how that works. You just cannot beg, man. You can't beg and tell people you watch my channel. That's embarrassing. Begging is once you're begging, you've lost the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. What that means is that you have to heal. And the way I tell people to heal, Get a meditation practice. You'll see how that works. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one, go to mindfulattraction.org by clicking on the description down below, and I'll see you guys next time.